Are you here to find out what happens in court, eh? Oh, we'll figure it out together, eh? Oop. This one. Gabing. What the heck? Hello? Oh, okay, there I am. Hello? 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 Okay, now it works. That was weird. Yeah. I might just have to. I'll start real soon. I just gotta post about Grapple Seed updating because that's happening today, right now. Yeah, da, 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 da. Do 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 da 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 da. But yeah, I think I basically have to do the prosecutor like that because the voice that I would have used for the prosecutor, I used for like the justice chief guy. So yeah. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. They are both vampiric looking, yeah. So, Lord Van Zeeks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. I love this guy. He's hilarious. Damn, dude. Having savoured the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Hey, Cassie. Lord Van Zeeks? Is it cold in here or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honor the deathly silence and listen to the charade. Seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter.
There's nothing so hard to prove as self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of the battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more.
Dang, dude. He's getting saucy.
Witnesses! I trust you heard the summation examination we just had to endure.
No. Yes, sir. I did, sir.
Of course I heard it.
Oh, yes, sir. I heard it.
You, sir. On the end, the coachman. I believe it is Beppo?
Yes, sir. My lord, sir.
If it transpires that in your previous testimony, you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Oh, mio Dio.
Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it. But.
Well, I for one was told I'd have to pay 5 pence for the bus.
He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. He saw too much.
I'll tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands.
Oh, yes. He stabbed him, he did. I think so. Yes.
You think so, huh?
Counsel, make sense of this for me, please.
The phantom fifth passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage.
Beppo, explain yourself.
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You knew that. Am I to understand you've been overcharging your passengers by a penny a fare?
A penny a fare?
It's so cool on the last run of the day. It's always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir. If I had to pay 10 pence on the bus last week. 4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. No, that figures.
Well, It would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings have already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games.
Absolutely. Various misgivings. Let's start with the most obvious one, which is the coach guy said he thinks he saw him stab him.
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose. I might have, you know. Put the cart before the horse, maybe?
What's this?
Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. They not turned around, yes? You know, saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor, and the knife was sticking up of his midriff. That's right, yes. And the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. So in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? Oh, really thought I did, but well, I got over it again in my head. No, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I?
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Hey?
You asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed?
No chance.
Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of the omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement of what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that, alright. I'll tell you just how grim it was.
Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
So you didn't see it. You didn't fucking see it. You piece of shit, you didn't see it. You piece of fucking shit. Yeah, you. Handlebar mustache guy. You didn't see shit.
Hold it!
Blood-soaked?
Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
You saw that from the roof? Through the skylight?
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw.
This banker's latest statement. Feel sure there's something not quite right about it. When you feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo, that's when you should go have a good look through the court record. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. Can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it and bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press the witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something unhelpful as they did before. Maybe. We can't let fear of that happening stop us from uncovering the important new information. Yes, you're so right. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as the reason. I would not say these are blood-soaked. Or hands. They're gloves with a little bit of blood on them.
Objection!
Blood-soaked hands?
Well, I'll admit the soaked may be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilden, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain here. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove.
Ah!
In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent.
Yeah! But, no! That can't be right.
So you're a lawyer, eh, then?
Yeah!
That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said, "Yeah, it was on both hands."
Yeah!
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed. But is that really the truth?
Oi!
Objection!
Was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing a man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands, it was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
No! Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Why? I'm a city banker for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? His portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is it? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. Are you sure we will not find Mr. Shob's name inside? Well, let's see what we find. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all, are they? After all, not everyone in this country's well off. Duh! Goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see the name here? Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. It's almost as if I'm having a conversation with him as we speak. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment. Oh yeah, of course, the banker. Why's his name in here? Ah, borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but it could be very useful information. Whammo! Gotcha, Bruce. Mr. Daruhodo, we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying. It could turn the tide of this trial completely. Something to show how this man has a compelling reason to lie in this testimony.
I have evidence.
My lord!
Yes, counsel?
The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had a reason to lie in his testimony.
Ah! Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence.
He's right here, Your Honor.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilden.
Yes, a list of innocent victims, crippled by the accused extortion.
The point is, among the name of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
The what? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
Ah, no, well, it's barely worth them being calling debt.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas, not an inconsiderable sum of money. wouldn't you say?
Ah! Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilder were to be found guilty of the murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul the debt of 20 guineas to the defendant.
Ah! Ah! Order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have serious implications on your future, sir. Did you, or did you not, see the precise moment in time which the defendant is allegedly to have thrust the knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. You did not tell the truth in your testimony.
Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch?
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilder's hands. Both of them.
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained.
Ah, so you keep saying.
I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir?
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir. On the assailant's hands. I think... Yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both his hands, not just one. What? What?!
It would appear that we're gonna need further testimony from all of you witnesses. This time, I'd like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. So I'll make myself perfectly clear.
Mr. Darukodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes. Might finally have a chance to turn things around here.
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually say anything myself, no. Not until I heard the scream.
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or all would have seen. Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, Not one of you was witness to the crucial moment which the crime was perpetrated.
Oh, I apologise, my lord, but honestly... Duh! There was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Duh! That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
That's really not what testimony's about.
Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there's no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Okay, so I gotta prove that somebody else could be in there. And there was like a compartment under one of the seats where somebody could have hidden easily. The question is, do I just go all in on that? Do I just immediately do it? I have a full life. I could try. What's this? Armband inherited from Kazuma. It identifies the wearer as defense lawyer brought through the Empire of Japan. Oh, okay, cool. Report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner. Fuck it.
Objection!
Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You're riding this omnibus. Witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight and the floor of the upper deck, is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there's a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger enclosed in the cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well. I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area of the cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
They're sitting there looking that way. They see this seat, but they can't see this seat. Right? It's one of the seats, but I'm trying to figure out which one. It's this one, right? both rows of seats on the roof facing the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here.
Daw!
That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite to the one which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would be completely unaware of it.
Daw!
Objection!
It's quite possible. Some phantom was sitting there. You Nihonese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? Who could have been in the other seat, which is out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck?
I have an idea.
I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name.
You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned.
It does not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin, though it obscured from view, was...
I'm pretty sure it's Magnus McGilded. Do y'all have any other thoughts? But I'm pretty sure it's Magnus McGilded. Because he did say he reached across to check on him. He also said he was asleep, which makes me think he was on the other side. Magnus McGilty. I hope not, because that means I don't get to be a lawyer.
Take that!
Only went quiet. That means I'm right.
The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant. Objection!
Magnus McGilty was riding the carriage, sleepy from lilty, glove-handed wearage. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zakes!
I love how this fucking guy keeps grabbing a glass of wine, apologizing for doing so, and then breaking the glass of wine, apologizing for doing so.
People talk of tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own.
Damn, dude, chill out.
But I see they use terms ill-advisedly.
What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand.
Damn, dude, chill out with the xenophobia.
When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built.
But that premise may be wrong.
What?
If the victim was really sitting beside Mr. McGilden, creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, Counsel?
Too many helpful hints we shouldn't have? What do you mean? What hints?
The defendant's gloves, my lord.
What image? Elaborate. Of the two men in the cart. Oh. I mean, it could be McGilded. It's just a guy in a hat. They're both just guys in hats. Alright, Cassie. See you later. Thanks for hanging out.
He claimed that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
I mean, it's a vague illustration. They're not necessarily always correct until you see the actual thing, and then it changes. So it's not necessarily a hint in any way. Just a vague version.
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, the testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear. They clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant.
Basically, unless it's like an actual photo, the visuals you see don't really matter. Unless it's like actual evidence that you have in your record, it's just like vagueness. A vague depiction of what maybe happened.
That they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memories of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. There was somebody else sitting besides the victim that night, a third party we've yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who's this third party?
Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary! Order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection! The defense postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
When elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I couldn't see the rest of them, though.
Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
What particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember. You call yourself a hatter?
Style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in this cabin.
How can you be so sure?
Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would have undoubtedly offered to dispose of the fact. Unless, that is, you're proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of a true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled.
Ah! He's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded wouldn't be aware of it.
Order! There's clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
Prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will already have made a full statement to the police.
But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely?
Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. It indeed turns out the man has been withholding information. You can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act.
I don't mind. Because also, I mean, I don't know what happened. Do you know what happened? I don't know what happened. Like, I know it's not the accused because I'm defending him. It's never the one you're defending. Never. Ever. Not once. I have no fucking clue who it is, though. Do you?
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
How does that hardly seem the point? That's the point. That's where you're supposed to figure out who did it. Why'd they do it? How'd they do it?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Yeah, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand.
I'm saying we may have the info, we may not have the info, and when we get the info, we may still not know. We don't know yet.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury.
Yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say.
It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony.
When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron has to say is my favourite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. That was the wrong voice.
Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear.
And also, they're always going to be slow. It's always going to be slow. It's just how it is.
Let the proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
To be sure I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police?
Oh, begad, no. 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut?
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded?
And a fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In a carriage on a night with myself and the other man was another passenger.
It's true.
Aye. 'Twas me who helped little urchin getting away after it happened.
You...
What?
No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry. So I am, Lord Van Zakes. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, a little child was sitting in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known and the wee one's there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this courtroom, just like myself. I was trying to spare her that. Young hearts and minds are all easily damaged, my lord.
And who was this young child of whom you speak?
That? I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, Wade Singh just happened to be in a carriage that night. I never saw her before, or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witnesses' statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings.
What?
Ah! Smoke! Fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away!
It's no use. Can't see anything through the smoke. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Daroto. Cover your face.
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I hereby call emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
Were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Mid scenes of chaos, as people stumbled over one another in a desperate attempt to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew, that was for the time of being at least, the trial was suspended.
That's whack-a-moles, dude.
What even happened, bro?
Anyways, it's like been about an hour, so I'm gonna take a break. I will be right back. I'm back. Let's see what's up with this case and what's up with the child. Did not expect that. Oh, yes, whatever. Who cares? "18th of February, 52 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber."
What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Daruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? Sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure that everything's safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who could have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl around 15, I hear. A young girl? And could it be? The other passenger that Mr. McGilda was talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilda, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's bothering me. What's that? The 20 pence. Huh? Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now, it seems there were in fact 5 passengers. Which means, the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That's so strange.
Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's gonna say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Yes.
"18th of February, 1 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom."
There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilda. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before.
Is that the Russian girl?
Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume its trial of Mr. Magnus McGilden. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks.
My lord.
I believe you've established the cause of the smoke which veiled the proceedings earlier.
Seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army.
Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name?
was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand.
Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What's the meaning of this deplorable behavior?
She's 15, man. They just said it. She's 15, man. Can't be your waifu. Can't be. I thought your waifu was like, who was your waifu? Oh, the fucking girl who did the tutorial for the 3D model.
If I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilded?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why it is that wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. This all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Gotta say, my accent game is not as strong today as it was on Friday.
Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case.
Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. On the night in question, I took my back seat to the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then begorra, a loud thud, a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
I remain somewhat baffled, I confess. But from what I gather, in the night in question, this young girl was riding in the omnibus, is that correct?
Remember when I was doing the tutorial for how to make like a 3D model? And you were like, that's my wife you're talking about. Yeah.
It's exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord.
All times, no waifus. Gotcha.
Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. A loud thud, you say, and a scream? Hi, that's right. How can I explain it? It's like the sound of someone falling into the ground. That sort of noise. Do you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed? Well, no. You'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. When the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor.
You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream.
Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume.
Not above me. No, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the stream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before my eyes.
In where? You say she was hiding herself?
Aye, that's right. It's hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball when our eyes met. Well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest.
I'm really overacting this.
Still and all, I pulled her up from under there and sat her on the seat opposite, so I could have a wee chin wag with her.
I don't know what that means. I assume talking.
Seat opposite?
That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there.
You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir?
Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can't also have to find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time.
Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats.
Right sure again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
Aye, my lord. I think everyone understands now. Sat at the back of the carriage out of sight.
It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl.
After that, of course, with a scream from the gentleman above us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled out the horses.
I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Darvodo. Being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else in his testimony. Being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself stunned as everyone else at his testimony? Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. We mustn't be dispirited. We must just try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Darhodo, no grumbling, even in your head. How did you know? You sat him up? The victim, you mean?
I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. You could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you?
'Tis common courtesy, so it is.
I find that a little hard to believe.
Lord Van Zakes! What would that be?
You wake up to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is.
Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business.
The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest.
Unfortunately, my lord, everyone's thankful for the help I offer them. And some would even see me dead. So do try, where it's all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble.
Are you suggesting we're just gonna leave the man there?
Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it. So I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the wheres and wherefores first.
The whys and wherefores?
Right, sure. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else come meddling. That way scream I heard, for example. Would your good self do just the same?
Ah, yeah, the scream. It says he heard at the same time of the thud of the victim collapsing.
Alright.
Hold it! When you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board?
There were not. A cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either.
You were the first passenger, as it were.
I see. Hi. That's why I took the back seat as I did. It's the most comfortable, so it is.
Do you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat?
By all means. Yes, I already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite to the one which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, and where I feel the most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Oh. Knife whilst journeying on an omnibus. Died due to internal hemorrhaging, resulting from the trauma. The only thing I'm noticing, right, is the Mr. Mason's hat. Seems like it was made by what's his face? The witness? Dream had come from and bless my soul. What did I find? Herc was on a roll. A loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. I didn't question. I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. No! That's blood, isn't it? The grog? Oh, it's just, well, this blood stain's so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Zieks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Oh. Alright, I'm gonna do it.
Objection!
Nope. Music continues. Damn it!
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself? Yeah, I already did this. I got no fucking clue, dude. I've got this. What is it though that I've got? That's the question. I've pressed everything, right? I'm pretty sure. I wish there was some way to identify if I've pressed everything or not. Did that one. I don't know. What did you find?
Hold it!
Oh, he said he turned around. How did he turn around?
I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim.
So I did, sir. So I did.
As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that?
Well, now, here's a queer thing. A wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside.
Good gracious!
Under your backside?
And when I was lifted the seat on which I had been sitting, I found there was a wee little cubbyhole there for storage.
Mr. Naruto, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yeah, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside.
And that's where I found her.
Thank you. I've heard enough. The events as explained here are very clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl?
Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's the chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. That's commonly called a pickpocket.
What?
This girl here, a petty thief? Hold her. Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Daw! How dare you? What's the meaning of this? Daw! The girl! She's gone!
Open your eyes. I'm over here.
Good gracious! How?
What's the point of that little sidestep?
I know what you're lot of thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. A sturdy little dipper, you'll say. Slipped and got it caught up on a job. I think this is supposed to be more of like a Oliver Twist type thing.
She got herself backed up into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your heads, isn't it?
No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast...
Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need is what I do with these fingers. I'm professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do.
Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs?
Oh, this? Yeah. This bag I lifted the other day. one where I keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink the best.
Ah! Do not wave that thing in my direction again.
God, I'm losing all the accents. They're just fucking disappearing from me.
So, you admit you were riding the omnibus on the night in question?
It's alright, lass. You can tell him the truth now.
Alright, yeah. It's just like the horseman said.
The court accepts the girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened on the omnibus in the night in question.
Alright, if I have to.
Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. That really hurt my wrist. I just kind of like steadied myself, like I sort of, you know how you like shuffle yourself up on a chair, like you move yourself up a bit. I just pushed up with my hand, and my wrist is no bueno after painting, I guess. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Yeah, I tried again. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, ow, ow. Really not good. Ow. I was like, maybe it was a one-time thing. It was not. Ow. Okay.
So, I snuck inside the garage before they hooked up with the oars as always. It was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night.
There we go. I found it.
I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in the hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin it did. And a scream just came out. It's because of that Israel found me. He did help me get away, mind.
I was saying that out loud, and I didn't understand a word of it.
Yeah, he let you go.
I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact.
How?
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think the demonstration is called for. This where I was sat that night.
And the cubbyhole of which you spoke of is underneath the seat, I presume. Yes. It does appear large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye. But of course, a wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh!
So you can see, that's why I let the last bolt. I knew that if the police found her in there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined. When all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your actions would result in your own innocence being called into question.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman.
My lord! This fine example of a man could not possibly be the guilty of a heinous crime like this. Ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
With calm and calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Then who did it, dumbasses?
Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury, consensual in their leading into a verdict of not guilty.
Mr. Darodo, this, well, it must mean what? That we're victorious. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray, do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in the British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount. Emotion rules the day.
Ow! I really fucking gotta stop adjusting myself.
Emotion?
The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature.
What do you mean his true nature?
Well, I mean, as an artist who plays the guitar, does a lot of gaming, and now also fucking paints houses, it's not crazy that my wrist wouldn't feel great. This is actually the first time, well, second time that I've ever had any wrist issues. The other time was during the 24-hour thing last year. Not last year, the year before. Whenever it was.
Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in the investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report.
Good Lord!
The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilden's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything under the seat.
What?
That's true, though. There was a bunch of shit under the seat when we looked at it earlier.
Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Consul?
Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the
Don't autoplay, please.
Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend.
Huh? Me?
when the carriage was submitted as evidence. Doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be?
Oh, to be sure. The young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks.
Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter?
How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat of the omnibus?
It wasn't empty.
I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it. Yes.
Are you sure, counsel?
Be whist! What are you saying, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here.
What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position?
Welcome back, Cassie. Woo! 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 Woo!
As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible.
Interesting.
Just not altogether pleasing, fella.
I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded.
Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interest here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory's a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubby hole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. You think perhaps it would be in your best interest to now admit that you might have been mistaken?
Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here?
I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think.
Our compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that the omnibus should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleaser and pick-purse are lying.
Ah!
I can't believe I was nearly taken in. Stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them.
What?
Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
Yeah, every time a different truth, it seems.
My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate.
Thank you, Counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is a matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin questioning the witness, please.
Yes, my lord. What just happened? Whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem.
What the girls saw.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up with the horses, as always. But it was a right old waste of time. Nothing to show for my troubles that night.
There's a crafty coat purse kid who was stowing away beneath the carriage seat. Allegedly. Indeed. The carriage before they hooked up the horses, like always. Wait, like always?
So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run?
Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a joey making a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, ain't it?
I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense.
Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants.
Well, that does clear a little up mystery for the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 of which the cabman testified. And one little scapegoat riding for free.
The red uncle, the driver, always goes for some grub before his last run, you see. So that's when I stepped into the carriage and got myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right?
But your hiding place was a storage compartment, full of equipment for the coach, no?
Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother that much.
And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived on the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all the stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor?
Could have been, I suppose. I don't don't remember so well. Point is, it's made me jump.
You let out a scream involuntarily?
That's right. And then I felt the cushion over my head get light all of a sudden.
Oh, you think the lantern was unlit? Maybe.
Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes.
Or not. Could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not?
Well, girl, did you see what happened in that crucial moment?
Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butchers. Well, I had the chance, didn't I? Irishman was sitting up on the bloke and falling on the floor on the seat opposite.
That matches Mr. McGilded's account, of course.
But then, a fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again. I was too late by then. I could have never risked looking.
Even if there is no light, the people above might still be able to make out the inside just from ambient light. Yeah, maybe.
And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place?
I was scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all.
Next to the victim, Mr. Mason?
Yeah. A bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. And the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me.
Duh, how awful.
Both my hands got covered in blood and made me feel sick as a dog.
Both her hands covered in blood? That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while, is that correct?
He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed.
Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, I would presume.
I didn't want no one to see my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish. This here Irishman said to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see where you can get away later."
All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear they're all still very unsure. We could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony. I'm sure we could clinch the verdict if we want. Yeah, you're right. And I have this weird feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. There's a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here. I can't put my finger on what it is.
It does seem like it would be pitch black in there. Hey, Phoenix, how you doing? Not much up, just trying to solve this court case. Much better today. How are you? I'm alright. My wrist kind of hurts. I've been painting too much. That's about it. Irish voices for English people. I'm only doing one Irish voice. How dare you? How dare you, sir? I'm doing one Irish voice. Who else is Irish? You tell me. No. No, you're wrong. I gave the knife juror a Cockney accent. Just because it's high doesn't make it Irish. He has a Cockney accent. It's different. I also did a Cockney for this one. We'll see, you say. It's the same as like the fucking chimney sweep in Mary Poppins. Like this is clearly supposed to be Cockney. Hooked up the horses. What haven't I pressed? There's gotta be something. I didn't press this one.
Waste of time. What's that?
Well, most nights I'm on my own, God permit, like some of the time.
Oh, I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit?
Oh, yeah, well, that's what McKine called it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, a garage ain't got one in it for a while.
And that's when you came out of your hiding place to get away?
That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on me from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while the events unfolded in the enclosed cabin.
Yeah. Right, mister?
To be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion I've been sat on to find a child, now do you?
This Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then.
I also haven't pressed this, I just knew it.
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all?
I jot. Most days I just push the cushion up with my head and then look at the crack.
Back to the murder. So the discrepancy is that she had moved the items out of the compartment. She never moved once till the end. and was put back in the storage area when the man screamed. There were no items on the floor when a policeman came.
Yeah, the assumption, right, is that the hatted gentleman, the Irishman, did it.
You're not gonna have a butcher's who's gonna fiddle.
I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher.
Oh mate, I can have a look. I see I'll get under 8 as plush as the other one I see. So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason, that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over my head.
And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see.
Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink.
Oh, he thinks that's funny. He thinks that's fucking funny.
Excuse me.
So fucking funny about that, bro.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded?
No, I do apologize. Something the matter, Consul?
I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps. You seem to be thinking of something to yourself.
Oh, no. This is nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lasses all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark. Just terrifying, so it was.
I see. And I'm sure we all can sympathize. I'm scared of the dark now.
Hi, and I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear much louder as well.
Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe.
Miss Lestrade! Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps?
Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring.
Pajabbers, there's no need to tell the whole world of my foibles, you little scamp.
What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue.
Yeah. What should we make of that last statement of hers?
It's profoundly important for some reason.
My lord! I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important.
I don't know the reasons. That's what I mean for some reason.
Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing.
If she heard him snoring, then he is confirmed asleep, and the sleep can be timed.
Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it.
Well, she didn't hear a murder, I think is more the thing, right? Which means that the other guy was probably asleep as well.
I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind Council. Nevertheless, Miss Jaina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. And it won't work on me.
That's right. Assault the judge. Always a good move.
Eastern minds are known for being more right than Western minds. Phoenix, right.
I was straining my ears to work out what was going on. All I could hear was snoring.
Well, the man was murdered. Alright, we're doing it. Fuck! Alright, I'll press it.
You're straining to hear what was happening the entire time. Tis the moment you hid yourself?
Not exactly, no.
Sorry?
Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher see to what was what. But then, I saw this swell getting on and got my head down so he wouldn't notice me.
And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct?
Yeah? Was you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug! So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard. I'm leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though he stopped in there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his Pegasus market, snoring like an old dog he was.
Wait, what?
Mr. Strahd, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts.
At odds? Are you sure, man?
Absolutely.
It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared.
So Van Zeeks realized it too.
Counsel? I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least.
Yes, my lord.
I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court.
According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring, I think. But think, Ryunosuke, think. There's something else she should have heard. Very well, my lord. Let me elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question.
Twice fired Mason?
Yes, my lord. The sound of what Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear. It's that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus.
Order, order! Explain your reasoning, counsel.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but you do you, bro.
Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. Claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct?
Yeah, of course I was. Got on while the driver was still in the pub, didn't I?
And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded?
That I was. Not a soul in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight.
So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time.
Did I not just say as much? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own, for sure.
From what we've heard, carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all?
Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, wasn't it? Waiting for this swell to leave.
In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage?
Duh!
We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts.
Wait, what? I was making coffee. Okay, so what happened, right? Is this also a little pickpocket? Was supposedly, hidden under the storage seat of the carriage. Supposedly. Ah, Ghosty's explaining it, yeah.
Never happened. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zakes?
Yo. What if, right? What if the guy came from the skylight? Yeah, exactly, skylight. But does the skylight open? I guess we haven't tried. Oh, it does have a hatch.
Excuse me, objection! Objection? Objection, though? Objection? But objection, though.
Yeah, he knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement.
It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend.
What are you talking about?
You've demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more.
He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever.
And this girl is a pickpocket, let's not forget that.
Oh, he's guilty, he is! She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she had some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars.
And neither can I.
Mr. Foreman!
I didn't want to judge the girl just because she had some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars.
Ah!
Ah. Stop trying to steal my information, Manolia. Bullshit. Right. Blocked him.
Mr. Darodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty.
Sorry, I had to block that person there. Like, it's like a thing where like this, if somebody Manolia follows you, they're gathering data to sell to people. I have had 5 Manolias follow me at this point. It's like a big thing.
Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To considerable troubles you have spared me. I'm definitely yes, very refreshing. I definitely drank that. Yes, it was delicious. Yeah, I totally drank it. Yum yum.
Cha! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for? You useless Eastern Abaddon!
It's carnage. It's perfect.
Turn number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Darodo, the way this is going.
Is it appropriate to drink during a trial? It's not, and he keeps apologizing for it, and it's hilarious.
I know if we can't find some new way to convince everyone Mr. McGilded's innocence, Judge will rule, and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Yes, the witness's last statement seemed to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed entirely new light on this whole case.
What are you saying?
Counsel? Sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate your attempting to prorogue my injunction. Explain yourself at once.
When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand.
And yet the victim's body was found inside of the carriage.
If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus?
There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. The door wasn't open even once. The only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
I wonder what new fantasy would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all of us to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other only has windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
But there could be! There's only one possibility you haven't considered.
Oh, really?
Yes. One other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the closed cabin.
Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here is the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin?
Is this one?
Take that!
The answer's obvious. It can only have been the skylight.
I say, the skylight?
Objection!
Man.
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
The skylight may very well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
so you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory?
Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as a noise made by someone falling to the floor.
Yes, which has already been explained. As the sound of the victim falling from his seat, having been assaulted with a dagger.
Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witness described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact.
Good gracious!
Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say. The passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in the testimony.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
Might humble fella make a wee comment here.
Mr. McGilded?
be sure now, the two fellas who were sat up on a roof that testified afore, I said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much the case of them not saying, but... Aye. 'Tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas don't be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Oh my goodness. Surely not.
Those two chaps on the roof.
You mean the ones who stuck the knife in the man were? Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer?
You rotter, he said. You rotter. What are you insinuating?
This is a flaming outrage. I've a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute.
I'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said. It's all I.
Mr. Fairplay,
You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and a well-respected banker.
I'm mate of a very angry hatter.
Suggesting that someone like me would have stabbed a man in the guts, it's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I'll protest in the strongest possible terms.
That's right. I protest too. About you rotten scoundrel.
Order! 'Tis not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once.
But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous.
It's very hurtful, you know.
My lord, if I make comments.
Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks.
Was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. Our learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof.
accuse? I never intended to.
It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You've branded these gentlemen liars, and you've intimated their criminal guilt. In our British court laws, that is what's termed a baseless accusation.
I know it was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought.
What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify.
I thought there was something fishy about that hat the moment I laid eyes on the fella. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another.
There's filth and rubbish on our midst. We must dispose of it at once.
Testify! Testify!
What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy.
Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First.
My lord?
You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense.
Yes, my lord.
I didn't come here for this.
There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward.
Is keeping pushing forward. Witness testimony. Refuting the accusation. We'll find out what these fellas have to say on Wednesday. That's right, no stream tomorrow. I'm going to the gym to meet with my personal trainer and have a session. I don't have time for both things, so I'm doing that. Anyways, see you Wednesday. Appreciate you hanging around. Wednesday. Bye.